on in our, episode 4 of Market Your Journey. And we have a special guest here, Catalina. She has more than 13 years of experience into marketing and advertising agencies, and she has worked across cities, across globe, and working across these 13 years, she has been a chief growth and innovation officer at the Inshu Aegis Network, one of the big agencies across globe. And me and my co-host Kabir would like to especially welcome her on board, and we are really glad that you accepted our invitation here for this episode, Market Your Journey. We really thank you for the same.
Thank you, guys. It's really a pleasure for me to be in the fourth episode of this podcast. So thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Catalina.
To start with, I wanted, since I checked that you have pursued your graduation in engineering. So I wanted to ask you, since your background from engineering, so why did you choose marketing and advertising as your career to move on in your journey?
I think it was, one of those natural progressions, because I was working in a small boutique agency in Australia, and we were building e-commerce websites. So I was working on the programming side of things. And then the next step was to market those websites. So within the agency, we also kind of tried to get into digital marketing to promote them. And that's how I got into digital advertising. And then my career started kind of moving into that direction because of my work in this small agency. So yeah, I think it was one of those strange moves that happened naturally just from working on e-commerce.
Oh, perfect. That's a beautiful insight, because like Shreyas also, is also an engineer, became a marketer. I feel these moves are amazing, and you have a holistic approach to how things are done. You mentioned that you worked in Australia, in London, and now in Colombia. Just wanted to know, what is the difference that you feel working in different cities across different globes, and how do you cope up with this, basically?
I think there's a lot of challenges to address in each different city. I think the maturity of the market in terms of advertising does tell you a little bit about how you need to be working. So in places like Australia and London, the pace is definitely faster. Things move very quickly. Technologies take place into these cities much faster than in places like Colombia. However, I also think the clients that you work on also dictate how you need to work. They are in different stages of their digital transformation and their maturity in marketing. So you do need to adapt yourself to your clients to be successful, and to try to really understand where they are in that journey, and how can you help them transform and become more intelligent as to how they use the budgets in advertising. So I think it's definitely a few challenges with the pace of the market and the maturity of your client. And it's all about, for me, it was all about listening clearly to what the business challenges are, and go from there. Like, if you really understand what the client problem is, then you can think of a really good strategy, even though if your client is briefing you in something different. You do need to listen to what they need and what the challenges are, and how you can consult for them first, and then think about a strategy second. I think that'll be my advice.
So basically, it's more of communication. How do you communicate with your client, and just be very specific on what you need is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and I also you need to have goal setting moments with your client. You need to understand where they are in the digital transformation journey, in where they are in the market, and really think strategically how you can move them to that next step. Besides the work that you do on a specific brief, you do need to have a vision for your client and try and work towards getting them to the next step. Sometimes the best work that I've done for my clients had nothing to do with a specific campaign brief. It was more about helping them transform internally their processes, their technology, so they could achieve bigger things. So I think have a vision for your client, communicate, really understand what they need, and think about how to address those business problems more than just a campaign brief or a strategy for a specific moment in time.
A
Sure.
perfect answer, I think so. Since you talked a bit about that, you need to adapt and you need to, use the right resources at the right time, at the right place for the clients. So, going forward to it, I wanted to know, for our audience, that, what are the best resources that you use along your journey that really helped you while working in this corporate world?
I think there's simple tools that I think can help anyone, no matter the industry. I'm gonna name three that really helped me.
Mhm.
The first thing that really, really helped me was to have training in communication and expression. And it's,
Mm.
really important because you're selling ideas, you're telling a story. And if you don't know how to tell a story, then you might have the most amazing idea, but it won't be perceived the way you want it.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
think that can help anyone from any career to really succeed. Get yourself, some acting training, some expression training,
Yeah.
and that really,
Yeah.
really helps. The second thing that I think everyone should really train themselves in is Excel. Just
Yeah.
basic
Mhm.
numbers training. Like, you don't need to be an engineer, you
Yeah.
don't need to be a mathematician, but you do need to have some basic things that could help you be work smarter. And Excel is amazing. Like, the amount of things that you can do with just basic Excel knowledge
Mhm.
is great. And the third thing that I think always helped me, because I lived in so many different cities and had to adapt to different cultures, is just try and get into that city's or that country's culture. In Australia, it's all about the
Mhm.
water sports and the summer and being in the beach. So try and get yourself familiar with the country, with the culture that you're in, and how your
Mhm.
clients spend their time outside work. If you can create a relationship that is based in trust, then you should be able to talk about the daily things that people live. I know we're working in corporate environments, but you do need to build relationships. So I always try to get
Mhm.
myself familiar with the culture of the city that I'm living in. So I have things to talk
Mhm.
about when I'm in a meeting, and you can create those deep personal connections. So those will be my top three things that have helped me a lot in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. Adjusting to new culture and knowing them, it's very important, especially the place where you stay. We're coming to the end of this session. I wanted to, ask you, as a young marketer who's entering this industry, um, what are the tips you will give? I know that you told the three most important things that you did. What are the general tips that you would give, looking at the market now, especially with COVID-19 pandemic everywhere around the world? So, what is the basic tip to all the young marketers who have basic knowledge but do not have that experience like you have? So, I just wanted to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're living in a very special moment in time because it's testing us as humans, it's testing us
Mhm.
as people, and it's testing our capacity to really resolve problems that we didn't see coming and situations that we
Yeah.
didn't plan for. So my advice for everyone right now is to really be really in tune with the reality of the market, like understand what people are going through and what's a good next step for your brand or for your client. What voice you need to take in moments like these. Like, sometimes just selling more in moments like that probably is not the best strategy. You need to
Hmm.
try and build relationships with the audiences because they're going through a moment that is quite hard for everyone. So my advice is just really listen to what people need, more about the people and not so much about the brands right now. I think that's
Hmm.
definitely the right thing to do in this moment. But also start planning, do scenario planning. Things are really, really crazy right now.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen a huge
Yeah.
growth in e-commerce, in delivery platforms. Habits have completely changed. People are learning things that they didn't know before. So
Hmm.
I think it's about scenario planning right now. Like, try not to marry yourself with one idea, but try and plan different scenarios. What could you do as a brand to reinvent yourself, and what you can you do for your client to help them reinvent and discover how to add value to people right now. So that's one thing that I definitely think is right. And the second thing is like, you know, we're very fast moving into an e-commerce world. No matter if you sell online, it doesn't matter if you sell online or not, everyone will have to learn e-commerce skills because the channels have changed completely, you know. Now, even if you don't sell online, people will hear from you online. There's all these new platforms. There's TikTok, you know, taking things like for storming like different geos. There's boycotts on Facebook. There's so many things happening really fast. And the bottom line of all of these is you need to learn how to act as an e-commerce brand, how to communicate, how to connect with people, how to change your internal processes to adapt to a fast e-com world, even if you're not an e-com brand. I think if you follow an e-commerce approach to planning, you know, to branding, to strategy, you can definitely, you know, survive the next few months and even the next years when all these fast-paced digital transformation takes everyone, you know, on board. So those are two things I think are really key. Act like an e-commerce brand. Don't forget to build your brand and to have people at the core, because many e-commerce brands forget about branding and about people, and that cannot happen for a successful company. Really plan with people in the center, but do act and think like an e-commerce brand and react fast. And that means, you know, test, learn how to measure, make sure you have a measurement strategy, and, you know, react really fast and try different things and see what works, and then iterate. I think that will be my main advice for everyone.
Cannot
So
agree more than
reinvent,
that.
you know, listen to your customers, and you know, just react to what the market is saying. I feel those are some of the perfect words we can hear during these times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Catalina, you talked about how important is the digital space across group right now, especially during this, you know, unprecedented times. So I really wanted to ask you about that. How do you see that media and especially the marketing and advertising industry post this COVID-19 period, and how you are coping up with your current company since you have just recently joined Rappi as a head of advertising? So I wanted to, you know, get a gist for our audience that how you guys are coping up with, and how do you personally see working in around 13 to 14 years in this industry after this COVID is gone?
Yeah, I think it's like a time to reset, right? Reset what we knew, reset our objectives and our goals, personal and professional, because this has completely changed the world. Like many businesses have not survived these. Our audiences have changed. So what had been working in the past, I don't think is the right strategy for a post-COVID world. So my advice is to start listening, you know, to what has happened, to really see how consumer behavior is changing, and think how you as a business are going to react to that. So for many of our clients, that meant to completely change the way they interact with consumers, the way they reach them. What do I need to offer to someone who's contacting me via an e-commerce platform versus a video call versus, you know, a visiting store? So think about, you know, rethink about packaging, how you can interact with consumers through digital channels. That definitely has to happen before you can start thinking of moving on. Like you need to think how consumers are going to interact with you. How do you need to react to the circumstances, and how can you add value to them during this time? And I'm really excited about joining Rappi because they have completely you know, changed the way people interact with brands and have been so helpful for so many people in this isolation period to really get them close to small restaurants, to groceries, to like different small shops that could not have survived without a platform like Rappi and so many others that are in market. So I think it's definitely a company that's changing the world right now. It's helping people survive and go through this situation by getting them what they need safely. So I'm really excited, to be part of this team and to really help many more brands connect with consumers in this new reality. My main thing right now is how can we add value to people when they need us in the circumstances that we live in. Things are going to change, and many behaviors are going to stay imprinted on people. So we need to think how to react and how to act as brands for these new ways of interacting with people, and how do we add value throughout that process.
Great. I really feel that the way that people are now adapting to the online world and digital world is really quite different to the way that we were living pre-COVID period. And so in the end, I wanted to know for our audience, to all the young marketeers out there, what is the one thing that you will suggest during these tough times that they should do in order to be there in the market and to have their presence in the market?
Yeah, I think that definitely need to scale up. So many things that this new advanced digital world is going to demand from us as marketeers. So I think now that we have so much more time at home, really use this time to upskill yourself in the topics that are going to be important. I think there's many trends that I have been keeping my eye on. So everything from the supply chain industry through to measurement in digital that is going through so many changes with like the death of cookies and changes in privacy, or how to really succeed in advertising in new platforms such as I was mentioning TikTok, but like LinkedIn. There's so many courses that people can take right now to really be prepared for the next phase of this world, which is basically everyone acting as an e-commerce brand. So I think for everyone that's studying, that want to succeed, that want to find a really good role, anything related with data analytics, digital marketing, measurement, are things that are going to be so key for this industry and are going to be so needed. So I will definitely recommend that they take this time to take practical courses on these trends and things that we need to learn to be able to add value to our brands that we serve through our jobs. So that will be my main advice for everyone. Just take advantage. I've been like redoing many of the certifications from the big platforms during this time, because you learned these ages ago and you never retouched that knowledge, and platforms are changing so much. So I'm definitely taking this time to do that. I'm learning a new language. I think things that can help you connect with brands throughout the world and offer them value through your skills are going to be really good for you.
Your skills cannot inspire more than that to the audience out there. You have been quite inspiring to us. I think so, Kabir, we should, let Catalina go now to have her
Absolutely.
meeting.
I think, yeah. Catalina, thank you so much for joining us once again, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, guys. It was really
Catalina,
lovely to share with you today. Thank you so much for the invite, and I wish you all the success with this podcast and your careers as well.
thank you so much,
Thank you
Catalina.
so
It was
much.
a pleasure to have you here, and we hope that we stay connected and you please stay safe and all the very best with your, next new adventure with Rappi.
Thank you so much, guys. Same for
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
you.
you very
Thank you
much.
so
Talk to you
much.
soon.
Yeah, see
Bye.
you. Bye.